So a lot of people dream about starting a business, turning their idea into profit, and retiring to the Bahamas with a lot of money in their bank account. But most people forget to verify that their idea actually works, which can make you waste a lot of time, leave you in bankruptcy, and even lose the passion you had for business in the first place. So in this video, I'm going to share with you how to have proof of concept in your business so that you can verify your idea in the easiest, cheapest, and quickest way possible. And before we begin, remember to subscribe to the channel if you want to see more videos like this one. So let's start with some simple definitions. And proof of concept, which can also be abbreviated as POC, is a test your product or service has to pass to show that your idea works and that you can actually sell it. Meaning that before you spend any significant amount of time, money, or effort into your idea, you need to make sure that there is a need for it. Meaning that people are actually willing to pay for that product or service. Also, you want to make sure that your idea does whatever you promise people that it will do. And this is the best way to test those two things. Now, how exactly do we prove that our idea works and that we can actually sell it? We use something called a minimum viable product, also called an MVP. And a minimum viable product is a product with just enough features to solve a specific problem. Now I'm going to show you some examples of real-life minimum viable products so that this video is not only about theory. But this is one of the most important stages in your business because this is how you're going to get feedback from customers and how you're going to prove to yourself that people actually want what you're selling. So when people start buying your product or your service and you start getting feedback from them, you're going to be able to tweak your product or change or modify whatever is not working or whatever they don't really use or like. And when it comes to offering the first version of your product or service, some people argue that you should actually offer it for free because that's how you get feedback on a product or service that is in no way, shape, or form finished. But I'm actually against that idea because when you exchange money for a product or service, you take it more seriously. So if you want your customers to be completely honest with you and tell you what they like, what they don't like, and what needs to be fixed, then you're gonna have to charge at least something for your minimum viable product. And you don't need to charge as if the product was already finished, but you need to charge something to let the customers know that this is a serious thing. If you offer your product for free, I can assure you that 90% of the people you offer it to are gonna say yes, because, well, why wouldn't they? It's not a risk for them. But the question is, are they gonna be honest with you when it comes to feedback? That's a different question, because since they didn't pay for it, they don't value your product as much. And how are they going to give you negative feedback like you need to change this or I don't like this about your product or service if they didn't even pay for it? So yes, in the end, you might have less customers if you charge for your product instead of offering it for free. But you need to realize that the feedback is going to be more solid and it's going to be more beneficial to you in the long run. Trust me, I've offered my MVP for free before and it never works out. Okay, so we have talked about proof of concept, we have talked about the definition of minimum viable product and why it's useful to have one. But now let's talk about the other side of the story. So what would happen if you don't have a minimum viable product and you don't test your idea before you fully commit to that? Well, you can spend years building something that nobody wants, and that is actually the #1 reason why businesses fail after some time. Like, I know what it's like to have an idea that you think could potentially change the world. But just because you think your idea is cool doesn't mean that people will actually want or need it. And not only can you spend years building something that nobody wants, but you can also lose your life savings if you're the type of people that just have to make the idea work. And this is all coming from personal experience, because when I got started in business 4 years ago, I thought that people would be interested in learning how to design 3D models in a software called Creo Parametric. I was studying mechanical engineering at the time, and that's what I did at work every single day. So I was like, well, maybe other engineers are gonna be interested in learning how to use this program. So I spent 6 months to make the website all pretty and to design the outline of the course, and I divided the course into modules and sections and exercises, and well, it turned out that nobody wanted that thing. So I spent a significant amount of time and like $1,000 building something that nobody was interested in. So this is why it's very important to test your product or service before you actually commit. And if you're enjoying the video, make sure that you hit the like button because it really helps with the algorithm. So the best way I can describe what an MVP should look like is like pulling a Wizard of Oz. I don't know if you remember that scene with the giant head and the fire and the smoke, but it was all a show. And the man behind the curtain was making it all work. That's exactly what an MVP should be like. And I'll show you some examples to drive this point home. Like when Stripe came out, it looked pretty rough. It wasn't as user-friendly as it is today. They were still called Dev Payments, which is not a super catchy name. The analytics section didn't even work. And the pricing page showed absolutely nothing relevant to the customers. But it still solved a big problem that a lot of people had, so what the page looked like didn't even matter. The next example is PayPal, and it's very similar to Stripe. Because if you know the story of PayPal, you know that Elon Musk and his brother had to go to the store to install PayPal on the customer's computer. It wasn't like it is today, that you can just go to the website and use it. The next one is DoorDash, and it's probably the most relatable example to pulling a Wizard of Oz, like I said before. The story is that the founders of DoorDash were working on a completely different idea. They were building an app for business owners. They built an app that nobody wanted in the end. And as they were trying to convince a restaurant owner to use their app, they saw a completely unrelated problem. They saw a bunch of boxes that needed to be delivered, but there was nobody available that could do it. So they learned from their mistake and they didn't spend months building another app. So they set up a website that didn't even have an online booking process. All the website showed was the explanation of the service and the cell phone number of one of the founders. And a lot of people found the page and started calling the number to get orders delivered. And that's how they validated their idea. So these were just a few examples of different MVPs and how you can validate your idea in the quickest, cheapest way possible. But it doesn't have to be about business either. You can take this concept and apply it to everything in your life. Like if you want to start a YouTube channel, but you want to do it in the most efficient way, the way you would do it is that you would upload content about a specific topic, but you wouldn't focus too much on editing or adding sound effects or anything fancy at the beginning. You want to see that people are going to watch your videos and you're going to see if they actually like what you're saying and they like you. So you want to avoid having fancy editing or things that don't really help that purpose. Now, if you're interested in knowing what happens after you have proof of concept in your business and wonder what a CEO of a startup should focus on, then you need to click on this video. But I'm curious to know what was your biggest takeaway from the video, so put it down in the comments. Also hit the subscribe button if you want to see more videos like this one, and I will see you in the next one.